while I'm talking to you, it also seems like I'm talking to everybody. So you just have to hear me.
Okay.
All right, so let's begin, right? Gonna go straight. As far first of all, finally, everyone has gotten the time to be able to do, well, not everyone, but most people have gotten the time to be able to do the task, which if you check out, I already graded, at least for everyone that turned in their task. And nobody attempted the last one, which was the character generation one, for some reason, not sure why. I'm hoping that I'll be able to explain everything today. So before I do that, let me show you what everyone did. Like I mentioned at the beginning in the orientation of this video, we're gonna have it in such a way that everybody's code be available on a drive. I think I shared the drive with everyone. If you go to the stream and scroll all the way to the bottom, you should see a link to a drive. Okay, I don't think I've done that yet. Oh, okay, well, my bad. I've already created a drive actually, and I think I shared everyone in there already. So I think I shared everyone in there already. So yeah. So I'll send the link anyway, make it faster for you to get access to it. So all of this code that we're reviewing today will go into that place. They will all have their different the names of the people who wrote them. So that'll be easier for you to reach out to anyone on WhatsApp if you feel like you did a better statement to let them know. So without much ado, I'm going to begin. So I'm going to create another folder where I'll put my own solution for most of you to see. I'm not going to be solving everything, but because for what I can tell, everyone kind of grasped the idea. For the first task, it's kind of straightforward. The first task is really basic. And I feel like at this point, I've already repeated it so much that I don't need to do that again. But basically, what the objective here was that you just make a chat box that asks for a name, say hi, whatever the name the person gave, and then ask some more interesting questions, and I mentioned that you can put them in creative ways. Excuse me. And everyone did something like that. Everyone did something like that. Oh, so this is what folder. She's not particular somebody. She's not with us in the program. She just wanted to do something. I didn't want to delete the folder yet. So if you find something interesting in our code, you might not be able to reach out to her. You'd have to reach out to me instead. So that's the Stewards. This is Mr. Kennis. Then this is Shields. This is Smith. This is that's okay. Smith's version of this thing was pretty basic, right? And then Timmy's yeah, Timmy was being weird. He had this. The name of his bot was called Afrobot, which is nice. So basically, I wouldn't compare anybody's code against another person's code, but like I said, I think ultimately everyone understood well. The goal of the assignment was to understand how to use print and input, which was clear. So I think this was perfect. If I was writing the code, I would have done something a bit more interesting. I would have asked for a bit more funny names, funny stuff rather. So say, let me create a folder here. Call it, let me create a folder. So I'll call it school. So let me create a folder here. Let's call it solution. So if you say folder solution, that's the one that I did. So I'm going to create my files inside there. So what I'm doing right now, for many of you, this is not how you create your Python scripts. I'm sure some of you go through idle, type in your code in idle, then you save it into a folder, and that works, right? I can create a new script and type my code here. Right, I could save it into the folder that I just created, which is yeah, I could save it in here, right? And then just call it task one or something. That would be normal for all of you doing that. But if you also know to just do code, Visual Studio Code makes it a lot easier for you. I just simply create a folder, and then I go into that folder, I right click, I create a new file, and I call my file task1.py. Do not forget the .py because that's what makes you know that it's a Python file. Obviously, if you're confused by that, don't worry too much. And just do it the way you've normally done it. So if I were to try to do task 1, I'll simply just say the simple stuff, hello there. Hello there. My name, I am Alex or Alice. Yeah. What's your name? That's the introduction. And I say, what's your name? Then I get the name from the person like this, right? Another way I can do, instead of having to put this on 2 different lines, I could just do this. Input name and ask question what's your name. So what this does is that it prints this out, right? It prints this particular text out, and then it waits for you to enter something because we use the function input. So it waits for the user to enter something, and then whatever the user enters is stored in a variable called name. So that's basically what this line is, right? Now, if you want to do more lines like, okay, country, it's a country, input, where are you from, right? Oh, and that would be a country. The computer prints out where are you from on the screen, it waits for an input, and then stores it into country, right? So if you wanted to say make use of name, I can say print nice to meet you, and then put the name there. That's simple. Many of us did this, so it's not really shocking, really. But I'm going to show you something now. Another way of doing this that will make it easier for you moving forward, especially when you start to code a lot. This is how I do mine. I put F in quotation. I say, nice to meet you. But then, whatever variable I want to put into my sentence, I put in the brackets like this. Now, if you know that this is, if you know that, I'm sorry, let me just say that. If you know that this is easy for you, then please go ahead. If you know that this is much easier, for me, this is much easier because all I need to do is put F at the beginning, and then anywhere I need to deal with my variable name, I just simply put it around curly braces. And this is good because imagine you wanted to write something like, let's say you had the variable called age 27, 25. You had the variable called call country, Nigeria. And you have the variable, we already have name. Let's say name is Taiwo. And then you want to say gender, for instance, and you say male. Now, if you wanted to put all of this in a sentence to describe a person, you can simply do something like this. This is the name of the person, and you do something like this name. This is Taiwo, who is a male, put the gender, and then put the name of the country. Who is a male from the country. I'm going to explain it though, just pardon me. And then, and is 25. Who is a 20? Okay, no, let's make it fancy. Who is a 25-year-old male? Who is a age-year-old male? So what I just did here was I had this string. Basically, this is what I wanted to print. Sorry, this is what I want to print. This is Taiwo, who is a 25-year-old male from Nigeria. Now, if you check this out, the only things that I'm changing here is the name, which is this, the age, which is what you have here, the male, that's the gender, and then the country, that's this. So this could be something that you could do, but then you see that this can get complicated really fast. Or you could do, okay, before I go on, do you guys understand what I'm doing here?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay, Simi, welcome. Do you understand what I'm doing? Simi's microphone seems to be mute.
I do.
All right, then. So I'm going to go on. So simply, what I'm now saying is that an easier way of doing is just simply do print F. This is just put in a curly brace. Who is in a curly brace? Yes. Who is a sorry? Who is a gender from? See that this is considerably smaller and easier to understand because they're all doing plus up and down. So for future reference, you can also do this. This is particularly one of the best ways to do this thing. So just before we go on, let's test it out. I'm going to mute all of this. Then test it. I'm going to comment it around. I'll test it out. We have an error. See? So this particular one gave us an error. That's the first one here. And the reason is because this is an integer, not a string. This is an integer because this is 25. This is a string because this is 25. They're different, right? And so what this error is telling you is that we're trying to add a string to an integer. That's not possible. But the way to correct that is by converting the integer to string, which I'm sure you already learned about in casting. Simply put the data type and then put in a bracket. And that should solve our problem. So when we run it again, you see, now it works. It says this is Taiwo, is a 25-year-old male from Nigeria. The first one works. The second one does exactly the same thing. Oh, sorry, there's an S. But the point is that this one gets a little complicated. You can't just put integers in the middle or numbers. You have to just convert it to a string. And then this one does it pretty easy. So in your future reference, if you feel like you want to use this, then please by all means do that. All right, I'm going to get rid of all of this. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm going to get this back. And so, like I said, I would simply ask, hello, I'm Alice, and what's your name? So, person enters his name and says, I say, nice to meet you. Where are you from? I can say something like, okay, that's it. I can say something like, I am from, okay. Sure, right? So basically, the kind of questions you can ask here are just really up to you, whatever you want to do. Any questions you have to know, just be creative. And then at the end of the day, you just say, thanks, bye. That's it. All right? Simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, one of the things I'm going to be testing a lot with the different tasks, especially for tasks like task 1 and task 2, is how well you can present your application to users. So imagine that you wanted to sell this application, you package it well enough, and then you posted it on Play Store, for instance. How well do you want your users to be able to accommodate, or how well do you want your users to be interested in what you're doing? Now, what that is called basically is user experience, right? Basically, you're saying that what is the best way to present information or collect information from my users? I'm just going to point this out. Does anybody know why I use the name Alice? Anyone know why I use the name Alice? It's a personal preference, but I want to know if you can see into my mind to tell me why I use the name Alice. If you know, please feel free to say it rather. And by the way, Smith, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us.
No, I don't know. I don't know why you use Alice.
Okay. Cheryl doesn't know why I use Alice. Smith and Timmy, any input from you guys? Okay, I don't think Smith can call. So Smith, just send your message in the chat and I'll let everyone know. Timmy, any input from you as to why I use Alice? You should know that your mic is muted if you are saying something. Okay. Just as it's not. So basically, the reason why I used Alice is because people generally warm up to females. If you're a guy that's filling a form and it's a lady that presented the form to you, you feel more comfortable filling the form as opposed to being a guy filling the form to you. So I use the name Alice because, first of all, I mean, look at the things around you. Siri is a female, they use a female voice. Cortana and Microsoft, I think Windows, they use a female voice. I think Apple is Siri. Just look at any voice assistants, any AI, all those funny stuff out there. Usually they use a female voice because people warm up to female better than they do male. There's a whole evolution to that. You can figure out why a woman more approachable than men. But that's a different topic. What I'm just trying to point out is that in the process of trying to make their products more accessible so that people can enjoy using their product more, they had to select a female voice over a male voice. And that's what you call a user experience decision. Now, For something that big, obviously, there's a lot of thinking and research going in there. But for your script, I mean, most of it is small stuff. But I tend to notice, basic thing. For instance, Simi's code had, he called his code Afrobot, which I wouldn't lie to you, caught my attention. Anybody that is using this script, the moment you see Afrobot, you are more interested because it's kind of a combination of Africa or music rather and tech. So it kind of piques your interest. So it was a good approach to, the way he handled it. And then his questions were weird, which was also very engaging. And so that's a very nice creative touch to it. But ultimately, it doesn't undermine the fact that everybody understood the concept that we're trying to pass across, which was basically how to use print and input. Does anybody have any questions before I go on? I assume that means no. And I'm moving to task.
No.
Then I'm moving to task 2. Task 2 was now a bit more advanced. Now, task 1, where you get to be funny, creative, and all that. Task 2 now requires you to be more professional. Task 2 requires you to collect information from a user. And I saw a lot of people do a lot of stuff. Well, not a lot of people, sorry. Some people do a lot of stuff, which was nice. I mean, I don't wish rather. In the first set of people that I worked with, we had a medical person with them then. So the guy really went all out on this particular one. He asked all the kind of questions you can think of. So this is now where there's a level of, sometime in school rather, I found out that a lot of people wanted to do programming, like civil engineers, mechanical engineers, accountants, everybody wanted to do programming. And I got concerned because I felt like if everybody does programming, who is going to be the experts? Who are going to be the experts? And the reason is because programming in itself is not a solution to problem. No. Programming cannot solve problem on its own. Programming has to pair up rather with an expertise, with an expert or something, then provide a solution. Think of any program out there right now that is except all those Facebook, those ones are not really solving problems, they're just making life easier. But we're talking about stuff that actually solve problems. Think of that is hard to remember. I think some of you that are engineering students, think of MATLAB, or some of you that are into photography, think of what do you call that now? Those are package, Photoshop and the rest. Now, on itself, when you write the program, programming itself does not solve a problem. But to be able to write a program like Photoshop or Adobe, they needed to talk with I'm sure, I don't know what they call them, maybe a visual artist expert, to explain, okay, tell us, how do you draw a line? How do you do shading? How do you do color grading? Blah, blah, blah. All those stuff will have mathematical concepts to them. If you really understand photography and the rest of them, you know that they all have mathematical concepts to them. And then when a professor, an expert of those fields, come and meet the programmer and tell the programmer, okay, this is how you do all of this. The programmer now takes all of those concepts and puts it into a computer. So if everybody wants to learn programming, my concern is who are going to be the experts. That was just something a concern I had before. For instance, in 2018, I wrote a project I developed a solution for somebody rather, that a mechanical solution, it was in the lab, that basically allow a user to enter all of their electrical appliances that they use in their house, and then the application will determine what kind of solar system or renewable energy system they should use. Now, I'm a programmer, but the guy was a mechanical engineer. All of the concepts I developed, he literally had to teach me. Like, we brought out mechanical textbooks to be able to understand this stuff. So there's a place of research before you write program, because programs don't stand on their own. They're usually trying to make something that's already existing either better or convert something that's already existing that people do manually to digital. So if you don't do your research, it will work. Now, bringing it to this example, if I say, okay, write a form that can get correct medical data. Now, I know some of you being that you've probably gone to the hospital once in a while, and so you kind of have an idea of the kind of questions they ask. But if you really wanted to go all out, you go online, you say, okay, when you go to an hospital, what are the questions you start to get information, you start to ask, why do they need this information? You start to just basically ask questions, and that will now give you the kind of questions that you're going to ask in your form. Okay? Do you guys understand before I move on? I will assume that means that everyone understands. So it's also nice that everyone did this. Like I said, everybody kind of had the same idea, gender, last name, that. But I think the one that stands out most was Shinzo, because if you look at the school, they was able to categorize it into like sections, and this was something that I don't think people did well. Simi's own was just comical, but we'll talk about it a bit. It was not some. I don't think people did this, so it was nice because it put up personal information. Feel this. If you go to an hospital in the actual form, when you're done with personal information, you see another place that says okay, medical information. See another place that says medical history, which is exactly what this guy shown did, and that's perfect. Even wrote to consider that person. I didn't notice it before. So this was good categorizing, which is very good, and it's a very good example of user experience as well. But what I would say Show didn't do well was that the variable name is the same for all of them. What would have been nice is, okay, I'm just going to copy Sharon's code and then run from there. I'm going to do Sharon's code and I just make modifications to it. So what would have been nice is rather than say details, you actually give them names, first name rather, last name, address, age, sex, marital status, uh, blood group, uh, phenotype, uh, weight, height, allergic. So this one is a bit, you just find a way you can do this thing. Allergic, uh, care, or something. Just give it a name that you would understand. And then stuff like that. I'm not going to type everything finish. But that would have been perfect, right? Another thing that I could have done was after the person fills in the personal information, before they move into the next information, rather than just put medical information, I'll say input. Thank you for your personal information or something like that. So they know that they are done with that. Press enter to move into, to fill rather, the medical information. So that way, when you run the code, what happens is that when you've entered your personal information, blah, 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 sorry, 27, no, single, it says thank you. Then it waits for you, okay, calm down, just finish filling the form, take a minute, when you're ready, press enter, fill the next one. When you press enter, like that, and now start asking you for the other information. So you can just do the same thing here. Before you, rather than use print, you can say thank you again, and then say press enter to fill the medical issue. Do you guys understand that? I really need the response.
Yes, yes.
Godwin, welcome back. Welcome online. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't get anything. Can you just recap?
Yes, I'll do a quick iteration, but I recommend that when I'm done, the video will be posted so you can watch it. I'll probably divide them into 4 parts, so it's easier for you to go through all of them. So just to reiterate, we had talked about the first task, which was the simpler task, and I mentioned that Simi's Afrobot was particularly nice because he used some very nice, well, I call it quirks now. We called it bot Afrobot, and that was very catchy. Like you can, if you are filling a form and somebody calls the form Afrobot, you'll be very happy about. Well, not very happy, at least you'll be engaged with it. And so I mentioned that Simi's script was very creative, and that was good. It still doesn't change the fact that everyone, and I mean everyone, as long as you use this function impute and use print, everyone, Baldwin, Mr. Kenny, Sharon Smith, everyone understood the concept of input and output. And that's very important because from now to the end of the class, that's something you're going to be using a lot, right? You're going to be using that a lot. So aside that, I was just testing. If you check out your grade, you see that 60 marks of functionality, 30 marks for problem solving, and 10 marks for creativity. So if you did something creative, then you get like really good marks on the creative points. But ultimately, if your code does not work, that's functionality, and it does not solve the problem, then it still doesn't matter. Okay, so Timmy's code was really good. I'm going to upload all of this code online so you all can see it and then review it. If you want to talk to Timmy about his code, you can reach out to him on WhatsApp. Let him give you a bit of what is in his mind. All right, so, and then I now moved into task 2. And I said that task 2 was a more professional approach. In task 1, I allowed you to be creative. I actually wanted you to be creative with the kind of questions you asked. But then task 2, you want to now be more professional because it's more like you're in an hospital. You're in an hospital rather. And then you're collecting information from the patient. And then I mentioned that in task 2, Seun's code was pretty top-notch. Right? The only difference was that the only issue rather was that he used the same variable name for all of them. So if in the future I asked you to start doing some analysis with those data, you have major problems. So I decided to copy Seun's code and then start to correct the variable names. This is Seun's code. If you see that everything is details, 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 details. But then when I took it, when I copied it out and I started to make changes, I changed it to first name, last name, and on and on and on. I don't want to change everything so we don't waste too much time. But that was one thing I did. Another thing I also did was I like the fact that Shemun categorizes his questions into like different sections. You see, there's personal information. You will have all of the personal information. And there was medical information, and then there was medical history. And that's good. The only, I wouldn't say correction. The only addition I will put to that is rather than print out medical information, I'd rather just use the function impute. So that way, when they are done with personal information, the script has to wait for them to press enter first before it moves into the next session. So that's what we're testing now just before you came in. So when you run this, the user enters their personal information. Yeah. So now that I finished the personal information, it says, thank you for your personal information. Please press enter to fill the medical information. So what happens now is that the script is going to wait for me to be ready. Because imagine somebody gave you a question, now that is 100 questions, and you're supposed to fill everything at once. You should be tired. But every person says, fill the first 5 questions, they wait for you to finish, collect the form, give you another 5. That's kind of easier for you to do. So that's basically what I'm trying to do here. The user enters their personal information here, then you pause for a minute, or whenever the user is ready. Now press enter, just like I did now, and then they can fill in their other information like that. And again, it says, thank you for filling your medical information. Press enter to fill medical history. When you're ready, you press enter. They ask you more questions, like that, like that. I'm just going to be giving random answers. And that's the end of the script. Now, another thing I will add, however, is I made this clear that in the second task, you should print out medical information. If you see that here, as a conclusive step, print out medical information. And I don't know why people kept skipping that. We did really well. What would have been nice is at the end of the day, you said something like print. Thank you or something. See your information below. And then you print out all of their information. You basically print out their first name, their last name. Say first name is equal to first name. Do the same thing for last name. You do it for all of them. Go all the way to the very end of the question. That's weight, height, allergic, under care, and all that. Then you print, press enter to confirm. Obviously, use input step for the user press enter. And so once the user press enter, say print, thank you, bye. So that's just it's just something that I included that I don't think people did a lot. You're supposed to print out the information that was typed in like this. I'm going to obviously write this in the mouth. Before I upload the code, I'll kind of write this properly so you can see how I'll do it normally, and then you can just reference it. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay, any other person? All right, Godwin, I realized that this might seem a bit difficult to grasp, but the thing is, I don't want this to go for too long so that it's easier for you guys to review it. If this goes for as long as 2 3 hours, you may have some challenges with hearing it. So you and I will probably have a conversation later. We'll definitely have a conversation later. But for now, just making sure that just pick up on what you can and then we'll build on that later. All right, so we're doing this out. Yeah, so that's task 2. Nice job, Tim. Sure. Now moving to task 3. Okay, task 3. Okay, task 3. So task 3, split this task 3. Let's see. Task 3. Sim. So what happens here is that Simi's code, he copied, he basically typed the code. I'm guessing this is what he did. He went to idle and show, I'm sure you're familiar with this. He typed this code here. And then when he finished,
Yes.
exactly. So I think that's what he did. Timmy, I'm sure this was probably a mistake, but what you're supposed to do is go to File, New File. This is where you type your code inside here, and this is where you run your Python shell. This is where you run your code. Is this file that I want you to submit? But since you're able to write apparently your other code were fine, so I'm guessing that was just a mistake. But you're able to correct it. I'm going to quickly do editing. I'm sorry, this doesn't take time. I have to do something. So this was all he was supposed to type in the script and everything. So with the calculator, there's no real creativity in there, I wouldn't say. It's basically simple, which is what most people do, what many of you did rather. Said, welcome to calculator. Some of you asked for the year that they're currently in, and then they also asked for the year of birth. I think this was Sean's own. So let me clear this so I can start afresh. So Sean would ask you for the year that you are in. Let's assume that, of course, you're 2021, and date of birth 1996. It says that I am 25, which is good. So what this does for you is that if you run this program in, I'm not even sure what year to use now, 2000, right? If you run this program in 2000, it will do the same thing as it's doing now. So to give you your age at that particular year. If you run it again, let's say we want to try something even crazier. We want to go like 3021, and I was born in 1996. It tells me I'm 1025 years. Now, obviously, it's also going to work even in the future. You probably want to just add a bit more note to your code. Somebody that's 125 years, for instance, you probably just want to put the message there that says you should be dead by now. Something. Just an asterisk. I'm not going to add, I'm just commenting it out. Don't mind. I'm just trying to point out that fundamentally the code works. To work now, to work in the future. And that's a good approach to it. This is Mr. Kenny's own. Mr. Kenny kind of had a bit of a challenge. I'm not sure. He didn't actually do what I wanted it to do. So Mr. Kenny, you can just look at what others did, like Sharon's own or Smith's own. Smith was smart about this, which is something I like. He had converted it into input. And I think that's probably because I clearly said that, use use casting, which is what he did. Converted it to numbers, converted it to number. I think he also did that too. Wait, how do I understand? Yeah, he also did that, but then he did yours on the line. And Shane also did that, but he did this on the line. Same thing, still works. Bet here, current here, age is this minus this, and you're good. Perfect. This is Timmy's zone, same thing as well. Although with Timmy, what he did was he just set in the current year. So obviously, this wouldn't work in 2022. And next year I should be 26. But if I were to run this in 2022, it will actually show me 25 because the year is fixed. Like others that had theirs, how will I say it now? That had theirs more dynamic, where the user can enter it. In Python, you can use something called date time. if you know how to use date time, this will allow you to actually make it easier for you to work with this thing. So I'm not going to show you this now. We'll talk about that later. But for now, everybody did well. No arguments about that second, third assignment. Are there any questions before I go into the last one? The last one is kind of where I would really make sure I cover because nobody did that. Are there any questions before I go into the last one? No questions. Okay. So for the last one, we'll just create a new file here. Call it task 4. So task 4.py. Task 4.py. So the last one basically says character generation, that you want the user to enter a number and then you get the equivalent character of that number. Now, I can start with something basic. Welcome to character generation. I say number input, enter a number. Now, this will give me the number, right? Now, all I'm saying is equivalent character is equal to, all I'm asking you to do is convert that number into a character. So yeah, that's what I'm asking. I'm just asking you to cast the number. Just do this. Because like I said in the voice note I sent to the group, every number, every character in the key on the word really, most of the characters have a corresponding ASCII value. So for instance, capital letter A has a corresponding ASCII value of 97. And just to show you what that looks like, if I go into my Python shell, yeah, I said find me the let me do this. Find me the integer number of capital letter A. So I think it's CHR. Oh, my bad. 1 minute. Yep, certainly. Okay, let me explain that again so you guys you understand what I mean. Now, assuming you're given a number, says 97, for instance. To get the equivalent character, you just simply convert it to a character. And that's small letter A. It's that simple. Because the way the computer stores small letter A in the computer's memory is not by actually storing small letter A. What it does is that it looks for the equivalent number, which is 97 in this case, converts it to a binary, and then stores it, because that's how the computer stores the information, in binary. So there's no way for it to store A as A in the computer. It needs to first convert it to the equivalent number, which is 97. And if you want to go online to check for all of them, you can check ASCII code. Be able to find a list of them. Yeah. Be able to find a list of them here. There are quite a lot of them. So you see small letter A, although I don't think this one is right. Just review this, you should be able to make sense out of this. Or maybe type ASCII code Python. It's more specific. And then review what you find. I'm trying to look for A and 97. All these ones are in Alt, Ent, and Tab. It says A10. I don't think this is right because 67 should be A. I'll review this and get back to you later. But if you don't want to be trying out stuff, you want to be experimenting, you can be experimenting with other stuff. Let's find char of say 1000. That prints out question mark. Let's try char of 908. That prints out question mark as well. Let's try. There's a reason for that. Let's try 918 question mark. Now, I would say that it's not possible that one character will have multiple numbers. Does that be confusion with the computer? So I think what's happening here is that my command prompt can actually print out whatever the actual thing is. So it's printing out a command. Let's check it here. 108, character is L, 1000, character is exactly. So the equivalent character of 1000 is this. I'm zooming here. Hopefully you guys can see it. It's this. But when I checked my character on my command prompt, it printed out question mark. And the reason why I did that is because the command prompt can't print this out. So it puts question mark as kind of like unknown. Okay. So basically this was what I was asking you to do. That's simple. I'm sure I ran through that, but I did that on purpose. I want to first know if anybody got that before I go through it again. Anybody get that before I go through it again?
No, I didn't get it. Can you please recap?
Yes, I will. I will. Smith, there's nothing. I'm not getting anything from you. Hello, Smith.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, did you get that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to say that again. Let me quickly find. There should be a list somewhere. Let's read this on the side place. The 65. Okay. 25 videos in the writing program for the video resources are also good. That's from because it should be 97, not 10. That okay. See, it should be 65, not 10. So why is it 10? What's showing the 65 here? This is 97. Okay. I think I mixed that up. My bad. Sorry. I think I mixed that up. Yeah, so this is small letter A. Let me zoom this in. I'm going to send this image to you guys. But this is small letter A, and you can see that the decimal value is 97. Capital letter A, decimal value is 65. I don't think this first part is important because I also see capital letter A here that says the decimal value is 10. Maybe we should try that. Let's see what that does. Let's see whether converting 10 into a character actually give us a. It doesn't. I don't know what this I don't know what this particular image is playing with, especially this first part, but this remaining two, I'll send it to the group, it works. So basically what I'm saying to go over it again is that the computer does not store, the way the computer stores information is in binary, 1 and 0, right? That makes sense already. We all learned that in computer science. However, so the question now is, how does the computer store the letters or characters like A, B, C, asterisk, love, blah, blah, blah. Even smileys, emoticons. No, I'll find some example of emoticons in the computer and we'll use that as an example. The computer does not store them as actually the way they are. It doesn't store A as A in the memory. In the actual memory where the RAM or whatever is, it will first convert, before it stores, it first converts A to the number, which is the decimal number here, that's 97. And then convert 97 to binary, which is how it now stores the letter. So to understand, when you understand that, what I was now asking is that I want you to find that number that it gets, not the binary number. Instead of storing it first gets the decimal number. I wanted you to write a program that will convert characters to that particular decimal number. And the easy way to do it is simply just cast the number as a character. Because with the computer, the number 97 in character form is capital small letter A. So all I'm asking you to do is basically cast that number to a character. Now, if I'm saying cast and you still don't understand me, then that means you probably not read the material on casting, the other type casting in Python. I think some of you did that already. I think Smith did that in his age calculator. Yeah, this is an example of casting. Converted age to string. So that's casting. So basically what I'm asking to do is when the user enters a number, just convert that number to a character by doing this and then print out that character. So you still don't get it?
I understand a little.
A little.
Yeah.
1 minute. I'm just going to get my pen. 1 minute. Let me just connect my phone to this. Okay, so the computer is made up of, the computer has memory, right? Is
Yes.
now in the computer memory we store stuff as binary. Now I would ask you to go and, if you have the time, just go on the people on YouTube that talk about all of this stuff, computer memory. I think the particular author, okay, this crash course guy. I mean, it can get confusing a bit, but if you watch a couple of them, you probably understand the basic idea of how the computer works with 1 and 0s. Okay? Now, now, if the computer stores stuff with 1 and 0s, how would the computer store letter A or B or at? It can't store it like this in the memory. It has to first get the equivalent number of this thing. In this case, this is 97. This is 98. I'm not sure what this one is, but let me just call it X or something. Now, when it gets this, it now converts it to binary. Converts them to binary before storing it into his memory. Did you get that?
Yes.
Now, what I'm asking you to do is this particular part. That's what I want to know. I want to, but then, I want to change this pen. Yeah. So, but what I want to do now, I was explaining going up. What I want to do is now going down. Imagine somebody give you a number. I want you to convert it to the character. Say I was giving you 97. I want you to give me the character A. So what I'm asking you to do is, the computer already does it. I'm now telling you to do it for me. Now, if you watch the video of casting, you know that when you apply the casting of the 97, you get A. When you apply the casting of a number, 98, you get the equivalent character. It's that simple. Did you get that now?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I do.
And that's basically what I wanted you to do. And if you check the code, that's basically what was there. You can get rid of this line.
Oh.
The user enters a number, then you convert it to character. That's all.
All right. Thanks.
Let's try and figure out what. Let me get an emoji. Try emoji. Let me get one of these emojis. Should be able to get the character here. Okay, so let me also explain something again. Now that's how you convert a number to a character. Clear. But then how do you convert a character to a number? I think different languages have their way of doing it. For Python, you use the function called ordinance. So if you put a letter in here, it should give you the number. To say that again, I just taught you that CHR, by casting, you're able to get the equivalent character of a number. Now, to get the number from the character, you use the function called ordinance. This is not casting. This is a different thing. This is a function. This is casting. This is a function. Are you with me?
Yes.
So I'm just teaching that so that we can try to get the ordinance of this emoji. Let me go to I just share my work. Well, let's print out ordinance of emoji. Okay. Yeah. Let's print out the ordinance. Let's see what that has to say. We're going to read this part. And then run our code. And it says this is the ordinance. See, 128557. So that means if I convert 128557 to character, I should get the same emoji. So when you run that, you see it.
Oh, yeah.
Good, very good. So that's basically all I wanted to do. And I know this part is particularly interesting because it will just make sure that this will tell me that you understand the way casting works. Because if you're able to figure out this by yourself without me showing you, then there's no point, there's no argument again. I completely agreed that you understand casting. So if you want to, you want to write a love language to your girlfriend, and you want to use the love emoji in your letter, you want to write a program for your babe with the love emoji. Let's see, copy this. Excuse me. So I only need to love emoji. What's all this? Here we go. This. So I print it out. I print out the ordinance of it. What I get is it says expected the character or string of length 2 was found. So apparently, this guy is not a character. It's 2. That's a character of 2. Which is weird. Let's see. Okay, this is the one with the funny thing at the edges. Let's look for something simple, please. This one. This is this one. So I put this to give us something good. Okay. 128115. And when you print out the character equivalent, you should get the same thing back. Good. Now, when you eventually learn about for loops, excuse me, when you eventually learn about for loops, I'm not going to teach you that now, but I'm just going to do something for you real quick. Let's see if you find that interesting. I'm going to run through from 1. No, let me go while true. I'm going to start from I is equals to 0. And I'm going to print the character equivalent of I. And then I just do by 1. I realize this is loops. I'm not doing this till later, but I wanted to show you something. See the different characters it's printing, even Chinese. I'm just trying to run through 1 to infinity, and we're going to be printing out all of the characters that are there. Then we stop here. It seems like this one doesn't allow it. So let's even go crazy. Let's start from here rather than from 0. Let's start from 1 to 8155. I'll print out the character. You see all these funny letters. So many. Anyhow, before I get you all confused even more, did you understand what I was trying to do? Huh?
Yes, I understand the what you just explained before this last one you explained. This
That last
one
part is not relevant. I was trying to do something. Okay. My code was too distant. So, any other person has any other challenge? Smith and Timmy seem to be quiet. Any other questions? Oh, go on. Smith and Timmy, any other questions?
You can go on. You can go on.
We're practically done. I'm going to. So in this meeting, I talked about the 4 tasks: task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. What I'm hoping to do is so it's easy for you guys to read through, rather than have 1 hour long of 1 hour video long, rather, or 1 hour video. I'm going to break it down. So maybe we spend like the first 10 minutes talking about task 1. I'll break it down to task 1, task 2, task 3, and task 4. So you can decide to watch maybe the first 10 minutes, take a rest, watch the next video will probably be like 15 minutes, and on and on. So that should be easier for you to go through it as opposed to going through 1 hour long video. Aside that, I'm also going to be posting. So ideally, we should have finished the topic last 2 weeks, but there are a lot of challenges. I think it's last for 4 weeks. There are a lot of challenges involved. Some people were holding us back, which we had to remove. We had to remove them this week. Just to reiterate, not because they are not good at it. All of them have scheduling issues. They just have a difficult time schedule that it makes it difficult for them to make out time for this. So thank you. I want to say thank you for that because that means that even with a busy schedule, you're able to make time out, and I appreciate that. It encourages me to continue. But so it's been so long. I'm hoping that moving forward now, we are going to be more focused. I'm thinking rather than having each topic per week, we might be doing it one and a half. So say we start on a Wednesday like this, and then you have till next week Saturday, as opposed to Sunday, we do one week plus 4 days. So what has to say is that tomorrow I'm going to upload materials for the next topic, which should be conditionals and expressions, I think. And what that's going to do for us is it's going to take our programming to a whole new level. Like it's going to teach us a whole new level, combine things that we already know, casting, data types, input and output, and then start to create amazing stuff with that. So I'm going to post the materials for that, either tomorrow or Friday, whichever case it is. I'll post them. Then you guys will start getting to them. I'm going to be flexible with the time, the deadlines. Tentatively, I'm looking at 1.5 weeks, like I mentioned before. But if for some reason we can't make it, I will try and be flexible as well. Just keep in mind that the more flexible I am, the more strict I become. All right, so I think that's all I have to say for now. I don't think there's pretty much anything more to it. And hopefully before the end of the year, we can round up this whole Python thing and then you guys can move on to better things. Any questions before I end the meeting? Any questions before I end the meeting?
Please, can you move something?
Okay, sure.
I just turned on my laptop and it's showing safe mode on the screen. How do I turn it
Showing
on?
what?
Safe mode. It shows safe mode.
Oh, there should be a button. Can we have this conversation off this so I can end this and everybody can go and then we'll talk on WhatsApp?
Okay, no problem.
Send me a picture of what it shows on WhatsApp now. All right, so in the absence of any question, thank you all for coming and have a good night.